friends, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. I am really excited to reset with you for the month of March. I am so ready for it to be springtime. I live in northern Nevada, so we do get snow, it is cold, and so the fact that today we were able to open up the windows just a little bit and it's getting a little bit warmer outside, it's giving me more hope that spring is on the way. So today we're going to reset our word of the month, verse of the month, quote of the month, our intentions for March, and then we're going to look at the goals that we did accomplish in February and then set some new ones for March. So let's get into it. Okay, so I do all of my goal setting in Notion, and so that's what we're going to take a look at today. So first, we're going to begin with my annual goals, and we're going to check in here to see if we're on track. Then we'll look at February and tilt over into March. Now, already I see some adjustments here. Now, what I did last year was I did not touch my annual goals at all after I set them because I wanted to stay true to what I had set, but there were circumstances such as conceiving our second baby that did change those goals a bit. And so what I'm trying to do here is just be a little bit more flexible in terms of these goals, move them around as needed, but I'm also trying to track what I did change so that I'm not just, deleting a goal if it doesn't serve me or work for me, but I can still kind of see what adjustments I had to make from January all the way through December. So starting here, we have the word of the year. I chose two. I couldn't choose one, so it's abide and unite. Abide meaning to remain, continue, stay. Unite meaning to join, combine, incorporate. That is kind of my anchor in terms of this. And now getting into these, I set 4 quarterly goals for 2025, mostly due to this planner here. It actually breaks it out into 2025 or quarterly sections. This Abide Christian planner does. And so I wrote out one for each quarter, but I definitely got a little, as always, ambitious with it. I always need to temper myself to try not to get too ambitious with my goals. And so as you can see, I've already had to edit one. One of the goals for the year was to self-publish my first book by age 30. I turn 30 in July, and so having a written book has been one of my life goals, and I wanted to do it before I turn 30. However, self-publishing it may not be the route I end up taking. I may seek out traditional publishing route. I'm not sure yet. And so I edited this goal to just finish writing my first book by age 30. And so those are kind of my quarterly goals here. Very ambitious, but let's break it down into these categories. I set 40 goals for 2025. That is a lot of goals, but I felt very motivated to set more, to have a higher quantity but less buy-in for each goal so that I felt like I was having wins. And I think it's working because already I'm checking things off and it's only February. In the career category, the first was to earn a 3 to 5 salary increase. This would be by my annual review, which will take place in July, I believe. And so this is kind of a pretty standard salary increase. I'm hoping that I get it this year. And so I'm hoping that this will be a pretty realistic goal in this category. Build a professional portfolio. That goes into refreshing my website. I want to do it on my website. Develop expertise in market and audience analysis. When I came back from maternity leave, my role shifted even further into market and audience analysis. I am a marketing strategist for a marketing agency, if you're not aware, and I really enjoy doing market and audience analysis. It is my bread and butter, and I prefer it over doing digital marketing and placing digital ads. My role kind of splits both, and I was hoping to tilt further into that, and already I can almost kind of check this off because my hope was that I would, by the end of the year, be tilting more dominantly into this category. And already just returning from maternity leave, that was the vision that my company had for me, and so I'm already doing that. And so I'm just going to go ahead and check that off. Renew Google Ad certifications. These expire yearly. My Google search certification expired in January. I did renew that this past week, and video and display won't expire until July. Then earn a new marketing certification. I just wanted to boost my resume and certifications. I don't have one in mind, but I'm going to just keep a lookout out for that one. Actively seek mentorship in my field. That isn't really being done right now, but I do have it top of mind for potentially this next month. Reach 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. Now, the growth pace I'm at right now isn't quite tracking to meet this, so this is a little bit closer to a pie in the sky goal right now because I am just below 3,000, and if I continue the growth pace that I've had for the last 6 months, I won't meet this, but we'll see. Sometimes YouTube can spike in growth, and so I'm always leaving the door open for that and just continuing to make content that I love on here. And so then earning $300 a month on YouTube by Q4, either that could be every month in quarter 4, at least one of the months in quarter 4, as long as I hit that and get a paycheck. My paychecks right now from YouTube are about $100 a month, and I got a $200 a month paycheck in December of last year, so I'm hoping that this is a somewhat realistic goal. For creation, I changed this to finish writing my first book by age 30, start my blog, which I would call Honey and Hazelnut, more to come on that later, revive my Personality City content, film and launch Personality City course, share writing on Instagram, which I have been doing, and I actually have a video to kind of explain where this is, what I'm doing, what I'm writing, etc. And so stay tuned for that to be posted this month. Speak on Instagram stories regularly. I have been trying to integrate this more, and this past month I have been. So I'm just trying to share more authentically on there, to do a little bit more vlog style on Instagram like I do vlogs on here. So working on that. Learn how to make bagels from scratch. I make sourdough regularly. And my next spread I'm going to tackle is going to be focaccia, but then I'm going to move on to bagels. And so that will definitely be checked off soon. Buy a keyboard and re-learn piano. I actually want to put this on my birthday wish list for in July. So that one is totally fine to just sit there until July. Health is to see my goal weight on the scale by December. And I'm not going to share exactly what that number is because I know that weight can be a very triggering topic for people, but I am well on my way to reaching that number. With being postpartum and all of that, I wanted to really prioritize health from the inside out. Take aerial classes again. I used to teach aerial arts and have since fallen out of it since having kids. I would love to get back into it. Heal my diastasis recti. I'm doing ab exercises for this every day, or trying to do them every day. Do a parasite cleanse. I think that parasites probably run more rampantly than we believe that they do, and so I'm hoping to work this in at some point in the year because I'm sure that I have parasites. I'm sure that like 80% of people have parasites. Give up coffee for a period of time. I'm actually going to do this for Lent. Take vitamin C and D daily. I'm pretty good at taking vitamin D, but not as much vitamin C, because vitamin D is like easier. It's just like drops that I can just pop in, and vitamin C, I take it in powdered form, so I have to like make a whole drink for it. And so I've been better about vitamin D. I need to get better about this goal in general. Have undistracted family dinners. My new rule of life that I put is that when eating with others, phone away. When eating alone, phone can stay. And so I've had a lot of issues just being on my phone during dinner just throughout the week. Our kids are small. We can't really have like family conversations, but I want to build into our family kind of practice and routine regular family dinners in which we're undistracted, we're talking to each other. And so that does start, even though my kids are 2 and 3 months old, it starts now. And then the next here is volunteer at church. We need to get back into a church rhythm. It's been hard after having our second Lucas, but we definitely do need to do this so that this can open up the possibility of this goal even more. In the financial category, it is to tithe 5% to church or charity and tithe the remaining 5% to our blessings fund. Now, this blessing fund is a new thing that I opened this in the very end of last year. And so our 10% tithe is split between directly going to a church and charity and then going into this blessing fund. This blessing fund is meant to just give us some flexibility to be the hands and feet of Christ, that if we see a need, we can fill it with someone directly within our sphere of influence. So it could be a coworker, a friend, a family member. If they're in a bind, if they're really struggling with something financially, we can get them anything from, here, let me buy you a coffee to really ease your day today. Or maybe it's, let me help purchase this, like half of this car repair that you didn't expect and it's really stressing you out. we're trying to think through how to give thoughtfully and tactfully in a way that isn't offensive but is helpful. And so we just really like the concept of this blessing fund to just really be able to help out loved ones, acquaintances, and strangers alike as we feel God is leading us. And then the next is to invest in my Roth IRA to finish the contributions for 2024, maxing that one out, and then the max out the contribution for 2025. And then to save 10K in a home fund. This is for a home deposit. This is a growing fund. So this is just our amount for that we're saving in 2025 to be added to our larger home fund. And this is so that we can be prepared to put a deposit down when we do move into a home, hopefully within the next few years here. And next is to fully repair all the Kia maintenance issues that it is having. I have listed out here what those are. Schedule send birthday cards for out of town family members in January. Already did that. This really helps because we have so many family member birthdays that come each month. So to make sure that we're on time and not missing any birthday, this really helps for those who are not in town. Save up credit card rewards for Christmas shopping in December. This was an idea I had to try to not use those rewards throughout the year and see how much we can take off our Christmas shopping at the end of the year to hopefully help lighten that burden. And then open up a kids fund, and I initially put to contribute 5K to it, but now we actually decided and researched and opened up a Vanguard 529 for their education expenses in the future. And what I liked is that there's actually a lot of flexibility here. They can use it for college tuition. We can use it for private school tuition if we decide for K through 12 education. If for whatever reason they don't use it for or don't go to college, they can use it for an apprenticeship program or anything that's kind of education adjacent. Then for the personal category, what we have is read 40 books, which has been my consistent for the last few years, keeping a journal, having a memorable 30th, going on weekly date nights, taking a trip each quarter. For the quarter one, we're doing that Virginia, Washington, DC trip, like I said, book our next family vacation, join a mom or women's group, and declutter and upgrade my wardrobe. The wardrobe part I actually have been doing lately, so that's been good. And so those are my annual goals for 2025. Now let's tilt over into February. So looking at February, my word of the month was patience, and the verse of the month was love is patient, love is kind. Very Valentine's Day themed here. The quote of the month was gratitude helps you fall in love with the life you already have. My intentions were I want to be more patient and gracious as a mom. I want to keep progressing toward my annual goals, and I want to keep my eyes on Jesus. My Q1 goal I just reiterated here was to write the first half of my book in Q1. So I did edit this based on what I mentioned earlier. And then my monthly goals were as follows. I left these unchecked so that we can check them together, because what is more satisfying than checking off a goal? I don't know. Okay, so for the work category, it was to finish a first draft of a new sales product I developed at work for the sales team to implement. I did do this. Renew Google search certification. I did this. And create and publish 5 YouTube videos. I did this. This one would be my 6th if I can get it out before February ends. So we'll see there, but I did do 5. Write 20K words in Raven and Stone. I unfortunately did not do this. I wrote 20K. So this is still workshopping. I'm workshopping kind of time blocks that are going to work for me in order to continue writing, but I have been writing. It's just a slow and steady pace. Speak on Instagram stories 5 times. I've done it twice so far, but I came up with topics. I have 3 days left in February, and so I'm gonna check this off because I'm being optimistic that I already wrote down how I'm gonna share or what topics I'm gonna talk about on IG stories for the next 3 days. Create and start following an Instagram content batching schedule. I have done this, which has been really effective for me. Read 3 books. I have these 3 books being read in tandem right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on the screen my progress for each. I have not finished them. One big reason was because I got distracted and I DNF'd a book, and it was question 7. It was just a little too ethereal, and I knew that, you know, it had a bunch of disparate topics that come together at the end. I just did not have the time or mental capacity to be able to follow this book, so I ended up reading like 10 to 20% of it, DNF'd it, and then moved on to another audiobook, which was The Life Impossible, but that currently has a long wait list on Libby. And so I only got like 20% of the way through until I lost my place in line. Inner Excellence is an audiobook I'm reading on Spotify with my work team, and On Mystic Lake is a physical book that I've been reading on the weekends. I have been chugging along at those, but I did not finish reading these three. I'm currently in progress with these three. Have a Valentine's Day date night. We did do this. Prioritize journaling in the evening during power down hour. I did this for the first time last night, so I don't think I can check this off for the month, but I'm still working on how that power down hour looks for me. I've had to shift it around because it was from 8 to 9. I like to go to bed at 9 every night, but that wasn't really working because my husband and I got into a few shows. We watched all of Severance, now we're into Yellowstone, and so we're kind of using that as our like TV show watching, bonding, couple time hour, which I think we should do. And so I'm trying to figure out when the power down hour should be, because sometimes that goes over into like 9:30, 9:45, 10. And that's where, you know, I shut down the house, start the dishwasher, feed my sourdough starter, journal. And so that's where the journaling slot would go. And so because this has kind of become displaced, the journaling section didn't get done. So I'm still working on that. That's actually a goal for next month. Save 1K in our home fund to reach 12K for the year. Actually, my husband received a bonus this month, so we overshot this goal. So that I am very, very grateful for. Contribute $800 into my Roth IRA for the 2024 tax year. I got behind on my investment goals last year, so I'm still contributing to 2024, which I can do until April. So I'm trying to max out the amount before we reach April. So I did do that. And then file our taxes. I did that as well. Health was to go sugar-free, low carb for the month. I did that, and major praise is that my goal was to lose 10 pounds, and I lost 10 pounds for the month of February. I can't even believe it. Book an appointment with a gastroenterologist. This has to do with some issues I was having postpartum, and I did book this appointment, and so stay tuned on that. I don't think I'll be sharing that on this channel. It's a very TMI, but for the mamas watching, if you do want to know how that goes, how the appointment goes, status of all that situation, GI content, we can go there, but you gotta let me know first, because I don't think I'm gonna volunteer for this myself. And then regularly put phone away during dinner, which I have been doing. So pretty good on the goals here. And then my monthly wins were in the work category. I was added to the RFP process at my work, and I'll be leading the charge on our team's approach and format with this moving forward. Huge win here. I designed a social media workshop for Prolific University. I try to hide all of our clients' names on here. Some we're authorized to share about, some would prefer that we don't. And so I'm not going to share which university, but I'm very excited to have designed this, and very sad that I can't actually lead the workshop because it's a little bit too early to leave my son Lucas and travel to the Midwest, and so my coworker is going to lead this workshop, but I did design it. Then renewed my Google search certification and posted 5 full-length videos on YouTube. My channel received 45% more views than usual this month, which is awesome. In the creative category, I hit 20,000 words in my book, a huge milestone there. I continued to write poetry, and I shared it on my by Jenna Justman Instagram account. And I started a We Create Books chat for We Create authors. There's a few of my coworkers who are also writing their own books. And so we kind of have a little mini work support system now. I created that chat for a little bit of that. Personal had a much needed date night and making plans for more to come. Trying to work out what that looks like in terms of childcare, but hoping to maybe do a bi-weekly date night in the beginning, because 1 month feels a little too far apart. Weekly feels a little too frequent for us in the season, and so bi-weekly feels like a good place to start. And then I kept progressing towards my reading goals despite those setbacks. I still kept prioritizing it and doing it, and so I felt encouraged by that. Completed our taxes and received a return this year. That was a huge win because for the last 3 years we've owed taxes. So we did a lot of overhaul last year after we owed a pretty good chunk, and I was happy to report that we actually did receive a return this year. We overshot our home fund goal with the bonus money, which I'm very excited for, and I am currently doing an overhaul of our savings checking and sinking funds right now. More to come on that later. I kept the casual keto diet and lost 10 libs. I am so excited for that. I booked a much needed gastroenterology appointment, which unfortunately isn't until April. It was supposed to be 2 days ago, but I had to reschedule. Details there that we don't need to get into, and so now it's in April, so it'll happen. Just trying to find peace in that. And then I started a new personal rule, putting phone away while eating with others. And so those were my monthly wins for the month of February. Looking at March, my word of the month is prosper, to succeed in material terms, be financially successful, flourish physically, grow strong and healthy. I love the kind of dual meaning of this word, that it's about succeeding in material terms, yes, but that is something that God has promised for us, as we get into in the verse of the month, Psalm 1:3. But it's also about flourishing physically. It's about growing, which I feel like is the theme for March and for spring. Psalm 1:3 is the verse of the month. Now, this is the context of the verses 1 and 2 before it. Blessed is the one who delights in the law of the Lord. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that brings forth its fruit in its season, whose leaves shall not wither, and whatever he does shall prosper. The quote of the month is, spring exists to remind us that everything can begin again. The intentions for the month is I want to stop doing it all and do what matters most. I want to declutter physically, digitally, and emotionally, and I want to keep in step with the Spirit. Reiterated here is my Q1 goal of writing the first half of my book. And then our monthly goals here in the word category is to take ownership of the RFP process more at work, to ask someone to be my mentor in marketing, continue posting videos on Thursday and Sunday, which is my ideal YouTube schedule, and taking 1 day off of this schedule per month. I didn't finish writing these, so I get to put in a new creative goal with you. So write to 40,000 words in Raven and Stone, which would be the halfway mark. Make focaccia bread and bagels in the creative category. Now let's see, we missed a goal here. So let's see what we can do for our third creative goal, looking at what would support this category of my annual goals. We're already touching baking. We don't need to touch this until spring. We could always work on this more. This can also be focused on, but not really until summer as well. I want to focus on my book before touching this. We can maybe begin by, it's kind of ambitious, but I think that we can do it, is to redesign my personal website at jennajustman.com. We'll see if we have time to do this month. This may be a little bit ambitious, but this would be the first step before I can open up my blog, Honey and Hazelnut, which would link to it. I have a whole content system laid out on how this would look. Personal is to read 3 more books, have a date night before going out of town at the end of the month, and continue to iron out my evening routine. Where does the power down hour fit? I think it's going to be around 7 to 8, but we'll see, because that kind of runs into the boys' nighttime routines as well. In the financial category, it's more so to do with this financial overhaul than any specific values here. So it's to reorganize my bank account and auto pay systems. I have a whole goal system and action plan for what I'm doing. So I may make a video if you're interested in seeing what I did to kind of overhaul our finances. I would love to share that. Shift my money over to a new budget template and start following a new paycheck plan for spending and saving. So all of this I outlined earlier, and I just need to implement it this next month. Oh, I also missed a goal in the health category. We see that we're very focused today. So my first was to give up coffee for Lent. My second was to start running again. And now let's go back to the annual goals to see what we're gonna do for the next goal here. I guess we can kind of focus on this one. That's pretty low entry, and the others will be challenging. So I'll just start taking vitamin C and D daily again as part of supplement routine. So my supplement routine is during my lunch hour, so I just need to make sure to be taking primarily vitamin C during that time. These are all ready to go. When I have wins, I'll pop them down into each little category here. All right, so thank you so much for watching this video. I am so grateful that you did. If you liked it, please remember to give it a little thumbs up and to subscribe to my channel for content that might be similar to this and to follow up on all these goals that we've been setting for ourselves. I'd love to hear any intentions, word of the month, goals that you might have for March, spring, or just the year ahead. Feel free to share those with me. I would love to cheer you on and champion you in your process. But thank you again so much for watching this video. I will catch you on the next one. Bye, friends.